If you grew up believing that obedience was the whole Christian life, that fear of your leaders, fear of consequences, fear of God being disappointed in you was the thing keeping you faithful, I need you to hear this. That wasn't faith, that was control wearing faith's name. And you were faithful to it probably for a long time. Hi, my name is Mari, and I am a biblical counselor here at the Life Anchor Center. And I spent years inside Prosperity Gospel and prophetic church cultural before God put me out of it into something slower and truer. And I'm about a year into learning reform theology myself. So I'm not talking to you from a mountaintop. Maybe a few steps ahead of you, maybe. And I want to walk this one with you. For most of my life, I couldn't have told you the difference between faith and fear. I thought they were the same thing. I thought being faithful meant being in line, not asking questions, not causing problems, not being the one who made the leader uncomfortable. I called that submission. I called it humility. I called it faith. It wasn't faith. It was fear with a better vocabulary. I did what I was told because I was scared of what would happen if I didn't. Scared of losing my place, scared of being called rebellious, scared somewhere under beneath it all that God Himself was standing behind whoever was giving these orders. That's the trick of it all. It doesn't feel like control when you're inside of it. It feels like a devotion. I remember nodding along in meetings when someone or something inside me was quietly disagreeing. I told myself that was surrender. Looking back, it was self protection. I was managing what would happen to me, not actually trusting God with the outcome. Maybe you're watching this and something in your chest is tightened. Maybe you've never used the word control for what happened to you because nobody yelled. Nobody hit you. It didn't look like the stories you have heard about spiritual abuse. It looked like a Bible study, a leader who prayed for you by name, a community that felt like home. But somewhere in there, you've learned that silence was loyalty, compliance was maturity, asking why out loud was a sign your heart wasn't right. And under beneath that all of it, you've learned that God's approval of you was tied to how well you follow the people who claim to speak for him. Maybe you've learned that living a ministry, a group, a leader, even the one that hurt you would be treated like leaving God Himself. Maybe you were taught that your doubts were a spiritual attack instead of a normal part of growing up. If you left that environment, you know the specific exhaustion of it. The way you second guess your own discernment now, the way the obey and trust God got tangled into one in your head that you right now are still trying to put them apart. I want you to know that the tangled isn't a sign something is wrong with your faith. It's actually a sign something was wrong with the system you were handled. Here's what the part that I wish someone had told me back in the days. Control doesn't announce itself. It never says, taking your freedom. It says, I'm protecting your soul. And that's exactly why it works. I want to give you one verse, just one verse. This one, I'm still sitting with it myself, still learning what it actually means for me, not something I have got fully figured out yet, but it's Second Timothy chapter 1, verse 7. And it says, For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and love and of sound mind. Read it carefully, please, because it's telling you not a spirit of fear. For a long time, I thought the fear I felt, the tightness, the walking on eggshells, the constant low hum of don't mess this up, Murray, or God will be done with you. I thought that fear was reverence. I thought it was the appropriate response to a holy God. But this verse is telling me fear like that was never supposed to be a fruit of walking with Him. Power, love, and sound mind. That's what's supposed to be growing in me, not dread, not the need to check every move against what a leader would think. That was news information to me. I'm still learning and I'm still trusting in it. So here's something practical, not a formula, just a question I've started asking. And I'll invite you to start asking as well about any environments, any relationship, any voice you're currently under. Does this relationship grow a sound mind in me? Or does it grow fear? Does it make room for my questions? Or does it treat any questions as a problem? Does obedience here feels like trusting God, or does it feel like fear of a person? For me, that question showed up something small, whether I was even allowed to say, I need time to think about this before agreeing to something. In the environment I came from, hesitation read as lack of faith. Now that I know, needing time to think isn't lack of trust in God, it's actually wisdom. You don't have to answer those questions today on a camera, out loud to anyone. You can sit with them quietly this week. That's enough of a start. And if the honest answer is fear, that doesn't mean you failed. It means you are finally able to see clearly what you couldn't see from the inside. That's not falling away. That's actually waking up. I called it faith for a long time. It wasn't faith, it was control. And naming that didn't destroy my relationship with God. And that's what finally led me to the real one. If this is where you are right now, if you are starting to untangle what was fear and what was actually God, come and rest below. And I'll send you something that I put together exactly for this. Is a 7-day devotional, and I'll definitely will be sending it to you if you would like. So I hope this was a blessing, and I hope to see you at the next one. All right, have a good one.